Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Roslyn.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm good, thanks. How about you?
I'm good. The sun is shining here, so looking forward to the summer. Yes, and good morning to our viewers. Welcome again to Workwise Business Insight, the podcast where we cut through all the jargons and give you practical tools to grow your business. I am Rosalind.
And I'm Michelle, and we've got a really interesting episode today, haven't we, Roslyn?
Yes, we do. We do. Today, we are talking about tendering, the process of formally apply to win contracts, particularly government and public sector ones. Michelle?
Yeah, it it's such an interesting field, and I think because we've both recently been introduced to the idea of tendering for work, we thought we've learned so much between us. We'd share our understanding and our learning with you so that if you decide that you're going to tender, then you get a head start.
Sure. Completely. I agree. As we know, the government spends around 300 billion a year on public contracts. And that's a huge chunk of that is legally required to be accessed to small businesses and medium-sized businesses. So if you've never explored tendering before, you'll be leaving money on the table. So today we're going to get crack on and kind of give you, share our experiences. Let me put it that way. So Michelle, set the
Absolutely.
scene.
So, what, in your experience so far, Roslyn, what actually is tendering? Is
Mm.
it like, I don't know, applying for a job, but for the business?
For me, for my experience, tendering is actually like applying for a job, but for businesses. Simple and short. No complication. That is the only way I can explain it. Applying for a job, but for business. That is
I,
actually a pretty solid one, isn't it? So, yeah,
I think that that describes it really well because there is a sort of an admin element of putting yourself forward as the best person or business for a particular bid, and
yeah,
that is very similar to applying for a job.
it is.
So, in your opinion, then, why go through all that formality? Is it not possible that we can just pick the phone up and ring somebody who we want to work with and say, I'll come and do some work for you?
Mm, that's true. I love that question. Great question, Michelle. Um, you could do that, but however, public bodies are legally required to spend taxpayer money fairly and transparently, as we know. These are government money, you can't just spend it anyhow. So, for example, if a council says or they need an IT support or a cleaning services, they can't
Mm,
just hand it over to any company. They
absolutely.
have to advertise the contract,
Mm,
set clear criteria, and award it through a competitive process. They have to be open and fair. That is
mm,
actually great news for people like us, small businesses. The playing field is meant to be level. No
absolutely.
competition, no bribery and corruption. Open
Yeah.
competition. Yeah,
So actually picking the phone up and speaking to somebody because you know them might actually be seen as a way to short circuit the system when actually tendering is about fair and open, transparent competition.
exactly.
So you're
Exactly.
competing based on what you know and what you can do and not who you know.
Exactly. And as we know, my experience, all my experiences are in civil service. And since the Procurement Act 2023, which came
Mm.
into force in February 2025, the
Okay.
UK, government has made big changes to simplify this process and especially open more doors for smaller suppliers, people like us. So they think about less red tape, more transparency.
Mm.
So I think personally for me, the Procurement Act 2023 is a game changer. It
Yeah.
replaces the old public contracts regulation of 2015. So know the new rules. They are in the favorites, as some of the things that as an SME you can go through. So yeah, know the rules.
And that's important. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that the procurement landscape had changed so significantly.
Mm-hmm,
Um, and actually, you're right, game changing. It opens so many more doors.
mm-hmm,
So, bearing in mind that you're an HR consultant and expert, and I'm a coach and hypnotherapist, I offer training services as well. What sort of contracts are out there? Are we talking like just building roads for the local council, or are we talking about printers? What sort of things are we talking about?
yeah, I think when you look at the system, it's actually both. Public contracts exist virtually in every sector. IT person, marketing, communications, even catering, Michelle, construction, consultancy like us, training, logistics, cleaning, health and social care, you name it. So if a public body needs it, it can be tendered. So yes, a one-person design studio absolutely could win a council contract for website redesigning. So
Gosh.
regardless of what your trade is or your specialism. So you can apply.
So actually, the if you're a business owner who might ordinarily have thought, oh, well, that sort of thing doesn't
Hmm.
cover my business, actually, there are likely to be opportunities out there that you could be missing out on.
Yeah, yeah. Most people don't actually. So yeah, and that is the opportunity hiding in plain sight anyway. And previously, like I said, because before they changed the act from procurement 2015 to 2023,
Mm.
obviously it was kind of like a bigger companies applying to tender, but now it's open to small businesses. So
Yeah,
yeah, they actually recognize small businesses now. Yeah, it's out there.
yeah. Wow. I mean, it's such an untapped opportunity by the
Mhm.
sounds of things. Hmm.
Mm. But I just want to
So,
say something though, Michelle, just before we go on.
yeah,
Not all tenders are the same though. Just going back to your questions, because there are different procurement routes. And knowing
right.
which type of one you are dealing with, can help you. So, and we can walk through this, yeah, in this conversation, yeah.
That's really helpful because actually the thing that I found when I first explored tendering was that there were so many terms that I'd never heard of before. There were things that that felt very alien to me. So let's do this, Rosalind. What jargon free? Let's explore the types of tenders in the UK.
Michelle, why me? Well, I'll do my best. So, the just is just based on my experience recently and Michelle's experience recently. The open procedure, this is the most straightforward. The buyer publishes the contract.
Mhm.
Anyone can bid. And the best response wins.
Mm.
No pre-screening, great for newer businesses. Even you might be thinking, oh, I've only been in business for 1 year. You can try it, try it and see. Even if you don't win, it'll be a
Yeah,
big experience. So it's great for newer businesses as well because you will not filter out before you can even start. It will be a great experience for you.
yeah. Absolutely. And full disclosure here, I tendered recently and didn't win. Um, but what you say there, Rosalind, is so true. The experience of having been through the process was really valuable. And having been through it once, I now know what to expect next time.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that, that I would encourage anybody to go for it if they see an opportunity. But it sounds ideal. In your view, having been through it even more recently, is there a catch?
I don't think so. There's no catch. The buyer might receive, they might receive hundreds of bids. So
Yeah.
your submission really has to stand out.
Okay.
Quality of writing, clarity, and evidence of past work matter. It matters a lot, you know. So make sure you might be thinking, oh, what I'm doing is small. Don't think anything is small. Get those testimonials in from your clients. Don't shortchange yourself. Think about the value you've added to other businesses. Write it in there. And again, like I said, the quality of the writing matters and clarity and evidence. So yeah, start putting together your testimonials, the work you've done, where your clients have said thank you, you've done above and beyond, even though they're paying you. Take it seriously. Yeah.
And you raise a really important point there. I mean, it's so easy to sort of move on to the next job and not collect those testimonials. And actually, for
Mhm.
something like this, having a system whereby you're doing that automatically means that you're collecting information that you've got when it comes time to apply for another tender. So, what else can you share with us then, Rosalind, from your experience?
Mm. Well, restricted procedure. So this
Okay,
is usually called stage two process. So
okay,
in stage one, you
yeah,
submit a pre-qualification questionnaire,
uh-huh,
which we call PQQ. So
uh-huh,
this is to prove you're capable. You are capable. So it kind of like a commitment statement. So the buyer shortlists typically 3 to 5 suppliers.
okay,
Then in stage two, those shortlisted suppliers are invited to submit a full tender.
okay, okay. And my experience varied slightly from that, and I think that that's probably worth mentioning here because I
Mhm.
think different organizations maybe vary the process a little.
Yeah.
So I submitted my PQQ and my bid submission, and everything went forward and was considered alongside all the other applicants as well. So I think that that's definitely, that it wasn't a two-stage process for me, but it was, a relatively small tender. So maybe that was why. Um, but I think the important thing here is the terminology that you shared with us there,
Mhm.
because things like PQQ, what's that? Now we can all understand that that means a pre-qualification questionnaire.
Yeah, yeah, because there's lots of technologies you need to kind of familiarize yourself. There will be abbreviations, and within the abbreviation, there'll be full meaning as actually. So, yeah.
Mm.
So, and I think when they're looking at the tender process as well, people looking at it, they kind of use abbreviation within themselves. Yeah. So it's good to familiarize yourself with that. It's just like in care sector, people use CQC, see them using the full pronunciation or the full meaning of CQC. So it's just to
Yeah.
kind of familiarize yourself as well. And I think I will kind of say that if you get kind of things like that, just print them out, use highlighters to highlight those things as well. So it kind of help you. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So, assuming it's a two-stage process and we've submitted a PQQ, pre-qualification questionnaire, and been shortlisted, what happens next?
So after stage two, there's the competitive flexible procedure as well. So, well, that is new anyway under the 2023 Act. So it gives the buyer more flexible freedom to shape the process to suit the contract anyway. So, and this could involve presentation. And like you said, Michelle, earlier on, it depends on the organization. It might be NHS, it might be, public sector, and it might be local authority. So it depends on what they want. So that could involve presentation, negotiations around, some of the pricing that you submitted. So, but these are more common in complex or high value contracts anyway. So yeah, but like we said, it's open to small businesses. So it might be contracts of 100K, so 100K that possibly you might mean. So it depends on different things and different organization. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like if it's a big contract worth quite a big number,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a sort of presentation round, sounds a little bit like Dragon's Den.
A little bit, yeah. Then you've got the framework though, the framework agreement, Michelle. Don't forget that. I'm sure you
Okay.
did that during your own as well. So this is where a buyer sets up a panel of pre-approved suppliers for defined period, say for 4 years. So once you are on the framework, you can be called off directly to specific pieces of work or go through mini competition. So I'll just advise get onto the framework, is a steady one to get into. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I've got a recent example of this. So
Mhm.
there is a current framework for, well, it's not a framework as such yet, but the NHS are sharing
Mhm.
their training requirement for the workforce going forward, and they're looking for suppliers to come along and hear about that. And I'm
Mhm.
guessing from that, they'll then ask those who are interested, based on what they share, to join the framework so that it enables them to go to specific experts in
Mhm.
different fields.
Yeah.
Uh, so being on a framework means that you're probably in a good place to be recognized when something comes up that is suitable for your skill set.
Yeah. Yeah. Frameworks are good, Michelle, for small businesses.
Okay,
So
okay. Well,
basically, you apply once, like if you
yeah,
apply once, then you then win multiple contracts over life of framework without the process of retendering each time. So framework
okay.
is good as well. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. And I've
Yeah.
heard um it didn't come up for the bit that I did, but I've
Mhm.
heard the mention of DPS. Are
Yes.
you familiar with that?
Yeah, DPS. DPS, when I was in civil service, DPS stand for Dynamic Purchasing Systems. So
Okay.
we use that a lot. So this is a full public sector. So think of this like open frameworks. So any qualified supplier can join at any time during the
Okay.
contract period. So they are often used for services like temporary staffing, technology procurement. So it's worth checking if there is a relevant, DPS purchasing, the dynamic purchasing systems in your sector. So if you're an IT person, for Michelle, if you're a coach, for myself, it's worth checking if there's a relevant DPS in your sector. So because it can be a lower barrier way to kind of get into the tendering process. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really useful to know because
Yeah.
actually, you know, I think sometimes there is a lot for me particularly there was a lot of fear around some of this terminology because I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand what it meant and how it applied to me and how relevant it was. So to hear you articulate that is really helpful.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and and somebody will say DPS, it sounds like DPD, like um the Royal Mail stuff. So that is why it's key to kind of like I explained earlier, just trying to find out what it means.
Yeah. Yeah, familiarity is
It's
all the
really
difference,
good.
isn't it? Once you start to hear these terms and know what they mean, it's much easier for your brain to kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, now, like I say, it takes the fear and the confusion away.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so it seems to me that actually the lesson here is to understand which route might be suitable for your business, and to understand that there are maybe different strategies for
exactly. Exactly.
time. Okay.
Exactly. Perfectly put, Michelle. Yes.
So that's really helpful. So we've kind of covered what tendering is and the different types that there are. What is the actual process? Seems as how you've recently started on this journey. What has been your experience of the actual process from finding an opportunity to actually applying?
Hmm. I think for me, from my experience as well, is to kind of spot that opportunity. Okay. Spot it, go through the process, look at it. If it's something that you can actually deliver or you have the capacity to do.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have the capacity, think about your network. Do I have people within my network that can come, that I can name, on
Mm.
the form that we can do the work together? So, for example, as an HR person, HR tendering, kind of look at that, looking
Yeah.
at the cost of the contract, looking at how many years it's going to kind of take to do that work, thinking about, okay, do I have pool of HR professionals around me within my network
Yeah.
that I can then subcontract to? So I will be the lead tender person
Yeah.
and I'll kind of subcontract some of the work. So the first thing is to spot that opportunity and then be realistic, be honest with yourself. Is it something that I
Mm.
can do, or do I have enough capacity or people
Yeah.
around me that can support? So don't
Yeah.
panic. Yeah.
I think that that is fantastic advice because actually, on reflecting on my first bid, I think if I had more of a network that I could have called upon, I could have actually submitted a stronger bid. Uh,
Mm,
because the useful thing for me was that of course, you get to learn who wins the bid. And in the process that I was in, they gave me feedback on my bid and on the winning bidder. And it
mm-hmm,
was clear to see that the winning bidder had a team. And had I have been able to build a team around what I was offering, I would
mm-hmm.
have earned more more points in my
Yes.
bid mission.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that is why networking is very good as well. So there's kind of downsides to working silo as well. So we get out there, network, start putting your power team together, people that you
Yeah.
can do referrals. So yeah, because yeah, you need that. You need that. Like I said earlier, you need a strong statement to be able to put that together. So and also, as soon as the buyer publishes the specification document, like I said, print it out because it will describe exactly what they need from you. There'll be example. So maybe Michelle, maybe you missed that bit about, the power team that maybe do you have because the
Mm.
form is very big. So it's easy to miss out things, easy to miss out things because they will include the evaluation criteria, showing you how they will score the bids.
Yeah,
Because most tenders as well, they split the scores between quality and price. So often 60% quality and 40% price. So the one I'm currently doing at the moment, applying for, is 70% quality and 30% price. So you really
interest.
need to look at that. Yeah.
So it's not just about being the cheapest.
No, it's not. It's not, absolutely not. In fact, undercutting one price can actually hurt you. So buyers want value and confidence that you will deliver because it might be 5 years, 5 years work. So winning on equality is a much more sustainable strategy. always read the evaluation criteria before you write a single word. So write your response to the criteria, not just to the question, if it makes sense.
Absolutely. So it's sounding like, um, and I have a wry smile here because having been through it already this year myself, I know the answer to this question, but it does sound as though there's quite a bit of admin prep required before you even put yourself into the race.
Yeah, lots of admin, lots of admin to do. Yeah, and you need time. You need to create that time as well. Create that time. Yeah, because you'll be asked for your financial complaint standing, insurance cover, previous
Yeah,
experience. Make sure you have all those documents ready. Your account, insurance certificate. Even if you have 1 million at the moment, your indemnity insurance, they will ask you if you win the contract, when you win the contract, are you able to opt or you up your insurance to about 2 million, 5 million, because it depends on the cost of the contract as well. So,
yeah,
and policies is one things like equal opportunities, health and safety, cyber security, security awareness, all those things as well. So, yeah, even if you don't have it now, they will ask if you don't have it now, are you willing to take this up, once
yeah.
you win the contract? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
again,
you
don't
have
panic. Don't panic.
that. I think that's good advice because
Yeah.
it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put you on the spot now. How long does it take to pull the bid together?
Michelle, it varies widely though. It depends because sometimes you might have like 3 weeks window to between the time the tender is published and the submission. So, for example, a small contract tender might take about 2 or 2 days, a day or two, it depends. So, a complex high value bid can take weeks. And when I say weeks, it could be like 3 weeks or even more. That is why tendering efficiently, building a library of you reusable content. So, for example, Michelle, you've applied for one night, which you didn't win. So the next one, because you've had that experience, you've gone through that process. The next experience, or the next one, you can then reuse some of your content and so on, and then adapt it. So it is so important for small businesses to kind of, tender efficiently and build a library of some of the content you've used in the past as well. So it
Yeah,
varies. Yeah.
that's such good advice because
Yeah.
actually it's big. It feels challenging when you do the first one, but absolutely you will have, by going through that process, you will have started to build that really solid library of information that you can reuse time and time
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yeah.
You know, and it just then becomes about changing the focus of the bid submission to meet the criteria that they've set out. Your social value and things
Mm-hmm.
like that will likely stay the same. So you've got that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so after you've pulled all the information together, you've put your submission in, what happens next?
What happens based on, I haven't submitted mine yet, but based on the criteria, so there will be evaluation. So
Mm,
basically, this is where the buyers reviews, they will review all the bids,
mm,
scores them against the criteria that they've listed out, and then select a winner.
mm.
So under the Procurement Act, they must tell all bidders the outcome
Yeah,
and importantly, provide feedback on why you scored as you did, because it
yeah,
really helped, in terms of next time that you want to bid. So that feedback is invaluable, especially if you did not win. So I would advise you, if you fall into that category, make sure you read it well and use it to improve yourself. So basically, it's kind of like turning your weakness into your strength or your opportunity for next one.
absolutely. And I mean, I've already mentioned my experience and the fact that I
Yeah.
can see, based on the feedback that I got, which was actually very detailed, what I could do next time. So, and it kind of, I think the other thing as well is it gets you thinking about your business, your business model, and your strategy going forward.
Mhm.
So the whole process around this is really valuable. It's a very interesting exercise to do. And ultimately, if you win a bid,
Hmm.
what
Well,
happens next?
big one, Michelle, big one. Anyway, so again, if you win, contract award and mobilization. However, there is usually a mandatory standstill period of around 8 to 10 working days where unsuccessful bidders can challenge the decision.
Mm.
So, Michelle, did you challenge the decision?
I didn't know. I mean, in the case that in the bid that I made, there was an incumbent provider who had been providing those services for many years, and they re-won the bid.
Okay,
So, you know, I didn't. I didn't.
okay, okay.
And actually, for me, the experience was more of the value rather than
Yeah,
going back to challenge
yeah.
it.
I love that. Love that. So after the period of they stand still, then if nothing happens, then the contract is signed off and the work begins. So you often have to a mobilization period to get set before delivering official start anyway. So this is why it is important. Even if I'm a very positive person, even after summation, it'd be nice to start putting your strategy in place. Kind of like, okay, what happens when I win? I'm not going to use if, I need to start putting all my things together in time. So because as soon as the standstill period actually ends, the work will begin. So
Yeah, and I guess if they have stipulated specific things such as an increase in insurance cover, then
mhm,
you need to be acting on those straight away, don't you? So
yeah,
that you're ready on day one of the contract to
yeah,
deliver.
yeah.
Um, so it all sounds very formal. Um, not it's so far removed from picking the phone up and speaking to your mates about what work there might be out there.
No, no. But
And
the thing
it's
is, once done a few times, you get much faster and you build great confidence actually. So it can kind of help me as well. And you get your head to work, think about your business, like you said as well. It even gets you to revisit your website to think, okay, what do I have in my website I can transfer to this as well, so that you don't shortchange yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think because in a lot of cases, so I was working potentially with an NHS organisation, and things like data security and business continuity plans and things like that would have been quite important. Well, not quite important, very important.
Mm,
So winning a contract with an organization like that would mean that I maybe had to, before the start of the contract, get some things tightened up, in terms of
yeah,
cybersecurity or,
very important.
business continuity. So, and it's good to think about those things
Mm,
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
So, I'm hoping that our viewers are completely sold now and thinking, right, this isn't, Rosalind's doing it, Michelle's tried, maybe it is for me. So where would you actually go to find the contracts?
Yeah, well, perfect timing actually. In the UK, there's now one central portal for public sector tenders. So it is called Find a Tender or
Mhm.
FTS. Find a Tender, FTS. That is in the government portal as well.
Mhm.
So this replaced the old contract finder for higher value contracts anyway. So
Okay.
find a tender. Just
And we
type
can
it. Yeah.
we can provide a link for that, can't we, in
Yeah, we
the
can. Yeah, definitely, definitely.
um okay. Um and thresholds is something that they talk about quite a lot in tendering as well. What
Yeah.
are the thresholds?
Yeah, it's just around the value of the contract anyways, think because broadly contracts above around 230 13,000 and above for central government goods and services must be advertised on find a tender. So
Okay.
below that, buyers can typically use the contract finder anyway. So once you go to find the tender, you see the contract finder as well, which is also a free government portal as well.
Okay.
So I just advise bookmark find a tender at gov.uk. Find a tender. Yeah. And you see it
Okay.
there. And then set up email alerts, so you don't miss any opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Be
Yeah.
clear on the sort of the contract codes as well that apply to your particular type of work. But
Mm-hmm.
I know from my before, I mean, again, full disclosure, I got support to
Yeah.
end the process. And prior to getting support, I'd heard about all lots of different places to find tenders. And I got really confused. So it's still valid to ask, are there other places that you can go to other than find a tender to find these opportunities?
Yeah. Remember, both of us anyway, thanks to you as well. Supply Connect as well. So that
Mm,
is their main thing. So once you kind of go through Supply Connect, you find all of this, they find the tender, everything. And then for Supply Connect as well, you get to have an advisor that will support you through the process as well. Some of the things that we don't even know, they will show you around. So yeah,
yeah. And that's a fully funded service, isn't it? So
yes,
it's
thank
worth
you. Yeah,
just
it is.
kind of saying that, there is one-to-one dedicated support out there
Yeah,
that will help you kind of navigate some of this.
yeah.
Because there are lots of portals, lots and lots of
Mm,
portals to look at.
Loss, loss,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, but I think that the one we kind of will kind of advise is the purchasing one we mentioned earlier. But mainly if you find that kind of a bit daunting, just go through Supply Connect there, all the other links will be there, all the other portals will be there. And like Michelle says, Supply Connect is fully funded, government fully funded one, yeah. By
yeah,
Enterprise Nation, I believe. But we'll drop all of that
yeah,
in the chat as well. So yeah,
absolutely. And I was subject of a case study for them recently, so we'll share the link for that as well. And then you
yeah,
kind of see the nuts and bolts of what my experience was as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, I think that we've covered l- lots of information here.
yeah,
Actually, we could probably do another a part two
yes,
on this.
yeah. We
Um,
could come back after my submission as well, and then
yeah,
talk about the common mistakes and how to avoid them anyway.
I
So
think that would be a great idea,
yeah, that would
actually.
be great. That would be great. And I think before we close, Michelle, I just want to add about. I know earlier on I talked about networking, building your power team.
Yeah,
Networking is very good. Attend suppliers day, meet the buyers day, events where buyers present upcoming contracts,
yeah,
and they will be able to answer so many questions. So even as much as you're busy, find time, to attend all of these things because it's brilliant for early intelligence and relationship building. So, and it doesn't give you an unfair advantage, if you know what I mean. But knowing the buyer's priorities before you tender, really helps and it will shape your response as well.
yeah. And actually, that kind of takes me to the thing that I mentioned earlier when you were talking about frameworks, Rosalind, and that was the NHS
Yes.
intention setting opportunity, where they were calling potential suppliers together to hear what their priorities are for workplace
Mhm.
training and
Yeah.
development.
Yeah.
That's a
That-
networking opportunity, isn't it?
yeah,
Because
it
you're
is.
going to be in a room with people who are running businesses similar to yours that may
Mhm.
potentially be collaboration partners going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
They don't need
Yeah.
to be as competitors, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but should we be afraid of competitors? And I think because I mentioned earlier that sometimes you can turn your threats into opportunities.
Yeah,
So it depends how you take it, isn't it? So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Bravo. I agree.
yeah. So hopefully, like Michelle said, we'll come back to talk about common mistakes anyway. So by the time we do the next episode. So thank you so much, our listeners, for listening to the Workwise Business Insights around tendering. So if this episode has helped you, please do subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your fellow business owners who needs to hear this. So all links will be shared anyway, in the link as well once we publish this. So until next time, Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you. That was very informative.
thank you.
Thank
So our viewers, go and find your next tender opportunity. It
Do
is
it.
out there waiting for you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. See you
Thank
soon.
you. See you soon.